We move through life surrounded by people we may never fully know. The stranger on the street, the person across the room, the mentor we admire, the friend we thought we understood. Each one carries a world of memories, dreams, pain, joy, and purpose. I'm Dante Patterson, and I'm searching for the stories hidden inside everyday life. This is Everyday Lives, Passionate People. Welcome back to Everyday Lives, Passionate People. You might have noticed I'm back in a different location from what you've normally seen on if you're watching the video version of my podcast. Well, that's because I finished up my internship and I moved back home. And I moved back in just like 2 days ago. So I'm still trying to get my setup arranged. This may be different from what you'll see in the next episode, but for now, we're just rolling with the punches. Today's episode is called Are We Learning or Just Submitting? AI in the Classroom. I'll be going over my experiences with AI and the field of education. But before I dive into that, here's a word from today's sponsor. Now listen, I love supporting small business owners, especially when they use their own creativity and personality. And that is the exact reason why I'm such a fan of Crafted by MJ by Maggie Sharping. Crafted by MJ is a small handmade business that focuses on making cute and practical things for your everyday use. We're talking tote bags, slouch bags, wristlets, wallets, and so much more. These products aren't just cute to look at, they're cute and they're practical, and that's what matters. Need something small to carry your wallet or your lip gloss or just cards? Then a wristlet is probably for you. If you need something bigger for school or for everyday use, the slouch bag is calling your name. If you need more space, that's totally fine because Maggie also makes tote bags. And if you travel with hair tools, makeup, glasses, or anything along the lines of that, don't you worry because Maggie has something for you. The best part is prices start as low as $2 and go up to only $30. You're supporting a small business owner while you're still getting something that's cute, practical, and affordable. So here's what I need you to do after this episode. I want you to go on Instagram or Facebook and find something that catches your eye. And I want you to place an order. Whether you feel like splurging and spending some money or you want to get a thoughtful gift for a friend or a family member, just know at the root of it, you're supporting a small business owner. And again, that is Crafted by MJ. Handmade, practical, adorable, and practically a steal. You can find her on Instagram and Facebook. Crafted by MJ. If you tell Maggie that Dante from Everyday Lives Passion People sent you, you can get 10% off of any order that's $25 or more. Guys, that is a crazy good deal. But you got to act fast. This deal is not here forever. The last day for the deal is October 1st, so you got to act quick. Again, that is Crafted by MJ on Instagram and Facebook. Now back to today's episode. Okay, so we can't pretend that AI isn't something you've never heard of. It's growing by the second every day and it's becoming embedded in our everyday lives. No pun intended there. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Some people are neutral. Others say we abuse the privilege of AI. Some say it's underutilized. While everyone has an opinion on AI, it's without a doubt that we can say that it's becoming more apparent, especially in education. So I graduated with my bachelor's in music education. And right after that, I started my master's in higher education student affairs. Some places say HESA, some say CSP. I like saying CSP though. It should be obvious that I have a pretty solid framework in education and AI usage. And because of that, this isn't me taking a stance on AI. It's just things I've noticed and observed throughout my time in higher education and as a music educator. Students are using AI to brainstorm, study guides. Some people will even use AI to create entire assignments. But the biggest issue is the academic dishonesty and the cheating. This isn't calling out students because it's not fair to assume that all students are lazy and that they don't want to do the work. But the issue is students are overwhelmed. And this isn't just college students, it's high school students and probably even middle school students. They have so many external factors that get in the way of school. They have their personal life, their relationships, they have work. Students also have conflicting leadership roles and the fear of failing. I think we tend to think that AI exposed this route for everyone to take shortcuts, but that's not true. AI was never the problem with creating these shortcuts. Students have been trying to find shortcuts for years now. And again, it started before AI. There are students that will write test answers on a slip of paper and pass it amongst other students, or they'll go out and pay someone else to write their paper or complete their assignments. AI is doing the same thing. It's just faster and more convenient. So as I mentioned, I did my bachelor's in music education, and I think AI became more, I'd say more accessible in the later part of my education. But in music, you have to demonstrate your knowledge by playing and performing and recalling information that you hear. So it may be a surprise, but it's kind of hard to use AI in music unless you want to write a lesson plan or a paper. But most of my time in college, I had to rely on what I heard from music and how I could perform the music. So the issue isn't, is AI harmful or useful? Because in both cases, it can be, but it just depends on how we're using it. The point here is that AI can replace or strengthen your thinking. AI is great for brainstorming, creating study guides, simplifying readings, or creating practice questions. In fact, there were times where, being in grad school, I used AI to help me summarize some dense readings so I could understand it more clearly. I can also ask questions like, how can I apply this reading in my career, in my assistantship? And I would get some very insightful responses. But there are also instances where AI can be harmful to your thinking. I mean, I can pull up ChatGPT right now and have it write an entire college paper for me. And that's the issue. The issue being you're using AI to write entire assignments or discussion posts that you don't even fully understand. This is what makes AI so dangerous. It can completely polish something that wasn't even a thought for a student. Before I realized AI was dangerous, I remember I was student teaching, a little over a year ago in the classroom. And this was towards the end of my student teaching. I was curious. I pulled up ChatGPT and I said, Jarvis, referencing Iron Man's Jarvis from Marvel. I said, Jarvis, I need you to make me a lesson plan to teach my fifth graders this repertoire. I want you to include 10 minutes for warming up, 30 minutes for playing the repertoire, and 5 minutes for wrapping up. I gave it some more particular features as well, but I wanted to see what the end result was. So then I pressed that enter button and it gave me a fully fleshed out lesson plan. AI made a lesson plan for me in less than 20 seconds, in less than 10 seconds. And I had to write a lesson plan every single day of the week for my students. And I looked at it in disbelief. Then I had a thought, oh my God, what if there's a teacher that uses AI to make all of their lesson plans for the entire school year? What if someone uses AI to make all their discussion posts? What if someone uses AI to write all of their papers? I remember thinking after that, if I used AI for the rest of the year, would my teachers notice? Or I had a thought to myself, if I had stayed in education, what if the students I teach use AI for everything they do? That's when I realized AI needs to be something I need to know about, for better or for worse. So stepping aside from AI in the classroom, I want to talk about the podcast for a little bit. I had the thought of the podcast this year. I had an AI logo for my podcast and it was everywhere. And I'm sure a lot of you remember that. I was up late one night and I just really needed to start up my social medias for my podcast account. I remember I found this frame from a video I was recording and I was like, Jarvis, again, referencing Iron Man, Jarvis, I need you to make this into a podcast poster that I can use. When I sent in that picture, I got it back no more than 5 seconds later, and I was in shock because it produced something so fast. And initially I thought, wow, this looks really good. But the more it went on, the more I was thinking, if I'm having a podcast about the authenticity in people and the real and the passion in people, if I had an AI logo in podcast cover, I'd be a hypocrite. Instead, I watch so many videos on YouTube about people using Canva and making these designs. Pinterest is like my best friend now. And I decided to make my own podcast logo and cover. And you might notice as well that I swapped out all of my AI logos in place for the ones that I made on Canva. In that moment, I had realized that AI is just a tool. And that's it. When it comes down to a student using AI to complete entire assignments, it's no different than a polished turd. It creates work that looks good for sure, but it can't be defined. It makes weak and shallow thinking sound strong. Creating work that you can't explain is shallow and dangerous. Learning requires growth and struggle is different from suffering. When you struggle, that looks like building confidence, growing, becoming uncomfortable, developing your own opinions and your own voice, and getting your own sense of judgment. Using AI to complete entire assignments removes that struggle. And when you choose not to struggle, you skip the growth. Students need to reflect on how they use AI in the classroom. But if I'm being totally honest, it isn't all up to the students. Educators need to change how they use and incorporate AI into their teaching as well. The issue with AI is that they're creating the final product of something. So when teachers create a type of assessment that uses a final product, you better believe that students will find a shortcut to complete this assignment as fast as possible. And the biggest culprit here is a final paper. Educators shouldn't be surprised when students are scrambling to trying to finish this final product. This shows that educators need to change how they use AI. Educators shouldn't be surprised when students are scrambling to use a shortcut to finish this final assignment. This shows that education has to evolve. I just mentioned earlier in the episode that I did my undergrad in music. And when I switched gears to higher education, I have to write a lot more papers. Between music and higher education, you can probably guess which two has more access to shortcuts. This doesn't mean that certain assignments are bad, but it only means that we have to change how education and assessments adapt to AI. We have to ask the better questions of what is being measured or what is being evaluated. Can a student finish this assignment and not learn a thing? Are we rewarding thinking or formatting? What are the AI policies and expectations? And most importantly, are we demonstrating effective AI use? Even if education changes, students will still need to be responsible for their own learning. They have to decide if they want to be more active or passive in the learning process. Students also have to ask themselves, is this something I can stand by when they submit their work? When we think about it, completely using AI is not the best thing to do, but neither is completely avoiding it. So As we close, I want you all to do some thinking. The next time you use AI, I want you to ask yourself, is this helping me learn, or am I disappearing from the learning process? Completing the assignment is one thing, but if you want to become a scholar who can think, question, and explain their own work, you need to decide how you use AI and if it's the best for you. AI isn't going anywhere anytime soon. In fact, you can mark my words on it, we'll probably have double the AI integration this time next year. Maybe you find yourself using AI every day for simple tasks. Maybe you only use AI once in a blue moon. Maybe you don't use AI at all. Who's to say what's right and what's wrong? When you use AI, are you using it to build upon your learning or replacing it? The challenge here is to use AI without losing yourself. When you use it, are you using it to build upon your thinking or replacing it? That's our time today. See you guys next time, and make today your masterpiece. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Everyday Lives, Passionate People. This podcast is built on one belief: everyday people carry powerful stories. If you know someone whose story, passion, or journey deserves to be heard, send them this episode. Frankly, I would love to have a lot more people with great stories on the show. Follow along for more conversations about life, passion, purpose, struggle, and growth. I'm Dante Patterson, and until next time, remember this: ordinary lives can hold extraordinary lessons.